All right, hello again. So in this video, we're going to go over converting an image to black and white, and also kind of reversing that process. Unconverting, it's colorizing a black and white image. So we're going to go through some different methods for converting. Convert using grayscale, which isn't great, but you probably should know how to do that. Using the black and white button in Camera Raw, which oddly is not that awesome. Using a gradient map in Photoshop. Using duotones with color grading, so that's sort of a not technically black and white, but you'll see it's similar. Colorizing black and white, like we said, and then the last one will be a little more fancy. We'll use creative profiles, and then we'll also add the black and white panel mixer, texture, clarity, all that fun stuff. So a couple little things before we start. So you should, even if you're gonna deliver your image, or you want a black and white image at the end, you want to shoot in color. A lot of cameras have black and white settings. Some of them do anyway. But you want to shoot in color because you're going to get a better result that way most of the time anyway. And if you don't shoot in color, if you shoot in black and white, you're kind of stuck with that sometimes depending on the camera. So shoot in color and then convert after. The second thing is, should you convert to black and white in the first place? So a lot of times I'll see people convert an image to black and white or make an image black and white, and it probably is better at in color, because color kind of plays an important role in that image. So that's another thing you have to consider too. Okay, so let's go through some of these, and I've kind of numbered these here. So the first one we're going to do is the black and white button in Camera Raw. So this is a RAW file. It's an NEF file. And this is actually, I'm just going to double click it. It opens in Camera Raw, right? That's what you can do with the RAW file. And this is an example of one that's probably not going to look that great in black and white anyway. I mean, it might, but color is these got these luscious green, foliage and stuff. So maybe this should stay color. But anyway, I'm going to show you that you can use this one button right here in Camera Raw and click black and white. And that's what you get. It's actually not terrible, but that is one way to do it. It's a quick and easy way. It's a one-stop shop. So if I click on done now, it will be converted to black and white. And because that was a RAW file, if I double click that and open it, I can go back to this button here, which is presets, or actually this drop-down menu right here, and go reset to default, and it should come back to color. So that's the beauty of doing this in Camera Raw, is it's non-destructive, right? You can always go back and get your original back from the ashes, right? The second one here we're gonna do is grayscale. This is in Photoshop. So if I double click this one, since this is a PSD file, PSD is Photoshop document, right? If I double click that one, it opens in Photoshop. I have to fix the arrangement here. It opens in Photoshop, and what I could do if I really wanted to is I could go up to image and mode and change the mode to grayscale. So what that does is remap everything to black and white, 256 levels of black and white instead of 3 channels of color. So here are the color channels. I don't know if I've ever shown you guys this before, but here are the 3 color channels. So all color images are made up of black and white images, sort of black and white masks. So there's a blue channel, a green channel, and a red channel, RGB, right? And then you put those together. The red lets through the red color, the green lets through the green, and the blue lets through the blue, and mixes those together, and you get RGB. That's how you get a color image, at least in an RGB image. There's other models too. But if I go to image and mode and change from RGB there to grayscale, image mode, and then grayscale, can't do that when I'm zoomed in, then it says, do you really want to discard all this color information? Yes, I just went back 50 years, right? That is one thing about black and white images. They do look sort of antiquated, right? Or nostalgic, right? So now it's a black and white grayscale image. There are no color channel. Well, there's one channel, and now it's a gray channel, right? All the red, green, and blue channels are gone. It's now a gray channel. So if I save that, this is a PSD, so if I save it, it's gone. The color channels are gone. But there's a black and white conversion. That's another way to do it. And sometimes you do need a grayscale image for one reason or another, so that's how you do that. It actually makes it kind of a smaller file and changes some things. Although this is still 16-bit, but we won't get into that. The next method is using a gradient map. So I'm going to, this is another raw file, but I'm going to open it, double click it, and it'll open as a raw file. I'm just going to do a couple of things to it before I convert it, pretending that we're actually editing this thing. So I'm going to go to optics down here, and I'm going to click on use profile corrections. That will help to correct for the lens distortion from that camera. I'm also going to go to the crop tool up here at the top, click on that, and that's where the geometry settings are now. They kind of moved around a little bit. And then I'm going to click on the A, which is auto. So there's an upright section here. I'm going to click on A, and it's going to try to straighten that out. It did okay. I'm actually going to go, yeah, let's just use auto. Let me revert that. Click on auto, and then I get a little bit of straightening going on. I just wanted to show you that that was there. It's under the crop tool. So I'm going to, this is not where we do the gradient map, though we do that in Photoshop. So I'm going to pretend I did all the other stuff I was going to do to this image to keep this video under 3 hours, and click open here. And when I click open in the bottom right, that opens it in Photoshop. So we're back in Photoshop again, right? So now what we're going to do is we're going to use a gradient map to convert this to black and white, which is actually a pretty fast and easy and fun way to do that. And what I'm going to do is go back to the layers panel here. So I click on layers. I was in channels. And then down here, maybe you know this is the adjustment layer button. I'm going to have to zoom in here so you guys can see a little bit if I can. Looks like a little black and white cookie, right? So I click on that, and I'm going to go to gradient map. And it instantly converts the image to a black and white image. And actually, it's a kind of a high contrast, very contrasty sort of pop black and white image that people tend to like. So a lot of times people, when they convert to black and white, they want kind of a high contrast look to it. It makes it more sort of graphic and dramatic and stuff, right? So this does have a lot of that. You can edit this, and it's not really super obvious how you do this, but you go up here to the gradient map in the properties. This is the actual gradient that you have, and you just click on it. So you click on it to edit it, and you'll get the gradient editor. There's a lot of different editors, or a lot of different gradients in here, but all we're going to do, actually, we're not going to load anything new. There are some other ones in here. We're going to click on the black or the white spot here, or the black or white color stops, and then you'll get this medium sort of this color midpoint, basically. And I can click on this. You have to be careful how you click. If you click somewhere else, you'll get another color stop, which you can do if you want to do some interesting things. You could do that, but we don't really want that. I'm going to drag that, and the way you get rid of it, you kind of drag it down. So I'm going to click on the white. I could click on the black. It would be the same thing. And now, if I slide this slider, and you have to be careful you don't miss it, because then you'll make another color stop. If you drag to the right, it'll make the midtones darker. If you drag to the left, it'll make the midtones brighter. So this is the map that we're applying, the gradient from black to white. Actually, that looks pretty good. So once you get that the way you want it, you can click OK. And then there you go, you have it. You can also, anytime, since this is an adjustment layer, those are non-destructive, right? Anytime I want, I could double click on this. Oh, I don't even have to double click on it. I can click back on the gradient. Should be able to click on the gradient and get the color stop again. I guess the color stop goes away when I close it, but you can tell that it's there, because most of the black is down on this end. Anyway, so that is making a black and white image using a gradient map, which is a kind of a fast and easy way to do it. I didn't even really have to go to Camera Raw at all. I could have gone directly to this, clicked on the black and white cookie button, the adjustment layer button, gone to gradient map, which is right there, clicked on it, and I'm done, unless I want to make an adjustment in the gradient. So there you go. There's the second way to do it using a gradient map. The next one is technically kind of not black and white, but it feels black and white. So I'm going to click on Castle Duotones. It's the third one here. I'm going to double click that. This is you do this one in Camera Raw. So I just double click it. And there's a picture of a castle, right? And then we're going to go to a black and white, use one of the creative profiles. So we're going to do this again later. But I'm going to click on Creative Profile here to start with a black and white image. So I'm going to click on Browse Profiles. It's right there, if you guys can't see it. It's like a little menu button right there. Click on that. And then there are some creative profiles in here that are black and white settings. So you can actually, this is another way to do it, which, yeah, you could just click on one of these. You roll over and you can see what they look like. Some of them are more dramatic. Some of them are less contrast, more contrast. I'm going to go with number 2, just for the heck of it. So if I click on that, then that is applying what's called a creative profile. You can use these straight away out of the box and you're done. You could just say done and I'm done, right? You can also click on this slider and increase or decrease the amount of these settings. So it's almost like a starting point for Camera Raw adjustments. So let's say I go a little bit this way and make it a little bit contrasty. So there you go. You've got a black and white image from one click, basically, in a slider. You can use so the way I did that was I went to the creative profiles. I went down to the black and white section right here, and then I picked one that I wanted and did a little slider, and I'm done. But what I wanted to show you is how I can make this into a duotone. So if you hear duotone, tritone, quadtones, those are, they're not technically black and white. They are sort of a print technique where you print an image you print an image with 1 or 2, 3, or 4 colors. Duotone is 2 colors, tritone is 3 colors, quadtone is 4 colors, etc. So there's a quick and easy way to do this that looks like a pretty cool duotone effect. So first you're going to convert to black and white using some method. I could have done something else too. I could have done the black and white button, whatever I want, but I use this preset, right? I'm going to click on the back. This is a little bit weird how this works. You're going to click on this back button here to get out of the presets. Then I'm going to go down to color grading. So color grading is right here. And then all I'm going to do is in the color grading section, color grading is like, you'll hear about color grading like in Hollywood and film and video and things, where you give some an image a certain look. So that's what you can do with this this panel. Although it looks a little bit distorted, my Photoshop's messed up, but I think it'll still work. So, but all we're going to do is add a color for the shadows here, basically. So I'm going to click right here. It's kind of hard to see. I'm going to click right here and drag towards sort of red or orange. Let's go kind of orange. And you see how this changes? So this is what it looks like when you actually dye an image in a darkroom with a color or print it with a certain color of ink. So I've just changed the shadows and give them sort of a color cast that's sort of orangish red. And it has this sort of sepia tone look. That is another way to dye. Traditionally dye images or stain images more like a stain is to use make them into a sepia tone. And then if I want to, I can adjust the brightness of the shadows. And if I drag it down just a little bit, you'll see that it will drag those shadows down and the color will become a little bit more maybe obvious. I guess it's about the same, but I want to make it a little bit, drag the shadows down a little bit, gives a little more contrast. There you go. It looks like I got this photo out of a museum in the 1920s or something in an Indiana Jones movie. There's probably bad guys in there. And that's it. So to recap that one, I went to the black and white presets under the presets button right here, the creative profiles, right? I picked one of those. And then I went to the color grading panel in the normal edit section, which is right here, by the way. I picked a sort of an orangish red color right there, and then I played with the slider to get what I want. I could go that way too, just a little flat that if I do that to me. So I'm going to go down a little bit. There you go. So there is a sort of pretend duotone. I don't think it's really a duotone, but it certainly looks like a duotone, and it would print like a duotone, like a sepia tone. All right, so that is method number 3. The next one is the reverse one that I mentioned earlier. So I have this image that actually was in color, but I made it black and white to seem like I had a black and white image. I kind of went backwards, right? So on this one, I'm just going to double click it. This is done in Photoshop. Oh, I have to click done here. I'm going to click done on my duotone. And there's my black and white image. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this layer. Remember, you can do that with Command J or Control J, or drag it to the new layer button down here right there. So I drag that layer to the new layer button. I'll do it again like that. And then I've got a copy just to show you what it looks like or the difference, right? So here is the new layer with black and white. And then all I'm going to do is go to Filter, and then I'm going to go to Neural Filters, which is sort of, they're sort of experimental. A lot of them are downloadable. Some of them are processed in the cloud, meaning you have to have an internet connection to do it. But so there's a lot of things in here. I'm going to go to Colorize. So Colorize is right down here under Color. That makes sense, right? And then all you do is switch this little switch right here. It's a little bit strange. You just turn a switch on for these. And there it is. Look at that. So it figured out what those colors should be. You see it kind of did some strange things. The skin tones look right. It's guessing, I think, on the color. Oh, look at that. That's crazy. It's guessing on the color of the skirt there, but did you guys notice that the skirt is yellow in this part, and in the mirror it's black and white still? That is pretty strange. And then behind her leg there, it's kind of pink, which it shouldn't be. It should be the same color as this. So it's not doing the perfect job or anything. You can make adjustments over here as well if you want to adjust saturation. You can do a few other things. I can also output this as a color layer, which is an adjustment layer that goes over the top of the black and white that you could edit. And then you're supposed to say, are you satisfied with the results? Yes or no? I'll say yes, sure. Oh no, I don't want to do that. They wanted my feedback. I'm not going to help train it, but it is pretty cool how that does that, right? So I'm going to click OK. And then there is the color layer it made on top. There is the original black and white. Pretty nifty, right? If I show you the, I'll just go back for a second and show you the original. The actual original looks like this. It's sideways, but it guessed wrong on the dress. Looks like that dress is pink, and the skin color is probably going to do pretty well. But it definitely got the color of the dress incorrectly. So anyway, pretty fun though. Okay, so that is colorizing. The last one we're going to get a little fancier and kind of do this start to finish. Not take too long on it, but this is number 5, creative profiles. We're going to start with creative profiles, and then we're going to use the black and white panel mixer, put a couple of masks in there, add some texture and clarity, and it should look awesome when we get done if I do this right. All right, so we've got this image. It's kind of, it's cool. I think it's the Cliffs of Dover, I think. I forget. But it's a little flat, a little boring. You know, it does have some color in it, but this will probably look pretty cool as a black and white image. So we're going to start with color profiles. So I'm going to go up here to this button again, which is the profiles button. I'm going to click on that. I'm going to go down to the black and white. You could save these as a favorite too, or a preset too, but kind of skipped that part, didn't I? I'm going to go over and pick one of these. I think I might start with number 6. I'm just picking it. And if I click this little star right there, I'll add it to the favorites. Okay, so I clicked on that. And then I'm going to adjust the amount here. I'm going to go a little bit to the right just to make the cliffs sort of stand out just a little bit. We're going to do quite a bit more to this. Okay, so remember to get out of this profile section. It's a little strange. You have to go back up to the top, click on that little back button right there. And now I'm back to the regular editing portion of our program here. So what I'm going to do is do the normal things that I might do on a regular image. I think it's a little crooked, so I'm going to go to the crop tool, and I'm going to change the angle a little bit. I think it's about like that, maybe. It's a little tough to see, but that looks a little straighter to me. I'm going to go to light, and I'm going to do an auto white and auto black. So I'm going to go hold down shift. You may see these techniques in other videos. That's why I'm not spending a ton of time on them. But I'm going to click on auto white and auto black, and that gives me a little better contrast. Now I can see some things up here in the sky, and I've got a better spread of light to dark areas going on there. Also going to add, well, I'm going to add a tiny bit of contrast, but I'm going to do that a couple different ways here, so I don't want to overdo it. Now I've got this black and white mixer. So I'm going to go down to black and white mixer, and I can play with the slider. So these are the original colors in the original color image, but I can now enhance them, right? So I could say, I'm going to take the blues and play with those, or I'm going to take the aquas and play with those. So I could do that if I wanted to. The greens, I can make those darker or lighter. I'm going to slide this green slider to the left. You can see how the grass that was in the foreground got darker. It looks black and white, but it's actually in the real image, it's color, right? So it's adjusting those black and whites. I can also use this targeted adjustment tool here, or grayscale mix. That's a long name. Look at that. Grayscale mix targeted adjustment tool. It's right there. I'm going to click on that, and let's say I wanted to bring down this color right here. I'm going to click and drag to the left. There we go. It's hurting a little bit. So there's that. So I could do that, and I can also click any other places and make adjustments there. It's doing that by color, not by the color in this black and white, but by the original color. You can see as I roll around, it is showing me the color that's actually underneath that. It's kind of crazy. So that's the black and white mixer. You could play with that a little bit. I'm also going to show you a mask. So there are other videos with masks in them, but I wanted to show you this because there's a new landscape, new at the time of this video anyway, auto selecting for masks for landscapes. So up here at the top, this is the mask button. I'm going to click on that. And there's a button now that says select landscape. So I'm going to select the landscape. And then I'm going to select sky, even though it's getting some of the water here, but I'm going to select sky and click create. And then I can do what I want to it. So it just made me a mask that I can adjust the sky with, and I can make that sky a little bit darker. I'm going to drag the highlights down a little bit and the shadows. Bring the highlights down just a little bit. Maybe the whole exposure just a little bit. Add a little bit of contrast. And then I'm going to go down to effects. And this is all, I'm just doing whatever I want to do here, right? You guys can do whatever you want too. But I'm going to go down to effects, and I'm going to add a little dehaze. That makes the sky super dramatic. If you do it too much, it looks ridiculous, but I'm going to do just a little bit of dehaze there. And now I can see all those clouds there that I couldn't even see in the original image, right? So this is a raw file. That's the beauty of the raw file, is that there's all this data in there that you couldn't even really see. So that is pretty cool, right? Landscapes usually look good with a little texture and clarity. So I'm going to add some texture and some clarity to that. That sort of looks like sharpening, but it's not exactly sharpening. But it does look like that, but the landscapes typically look good that way. I'm also going to give it a tiny bit, even though it's very contrasty already. I probably shouldn't do this, but I'm going to add a tiny bit of an S curve. So that's very typical way to use the curve tool. This works in Photoshop too with the curve adjustment layer. But if you use this sort of slight S curve, it will make the image look more contrasted in the midtones, which is kind of cool. So we've done effects, we did the light, and the last thing we want to do is go to detail and probably add a little bit of sharpness, because landscapes like to be sharp. And I think that's about it. So if I wanted to enhance some certain areas, I could add another mask if I wanted to, but I think I've done enough of that. I could paint over here and enhance this area or this area, but that actually looks pretty cool to me. There you go. So if I wanted to save this as a preset, I could click here, and then I could click on this button, and that would make a preset. I'll call it How about Mark Landscape? If I could spell it, 1. And it's going to go under user presets, and you can say what you're going to put in that preset, and say okay. And now if I look under user presets, there is Mark 1, and then there's Mark Landscape. So there's all these other presets underneath here too, but we've already used Mark Landscape 1. Anytime I want to, I could click on this and this little drop down again and go to reset to default. And I'm like, oh no, I lost all my work. But now I could go to user preset, go to landscape 1, click on it, 1 click, done. It looks like I lost a few things. I forgot to check some things. The crop is missing. I think that there are some things missing, aren't there? Let me go step backwards. There we go. I'm not sure why that's missing, but I'm going to leave it the way it is. I just did undo Command Z a couple times and got back to it. So I think I left some things off of the preset, but you get the idea. Anyway, that's plenty of ways to convert to a black and white image. Hope that helps a little bit. Some of them are short, some of them are kind of longer and involved, but you can use all your other techniques in Camera Raw and Photoshop as well. But I hope that helps a little bit, and I'll talk to you again later.